Welcome to real estate, the world's loneliest career, where you're always out of balance, unfulfilled, the role models are fake, the numbers unattainable, and you're just supposed to be and do it all. Join self-made millionaire real estate agents, wives, moms, and business owners as we level up, learn from special guests, and elevate and disrupt an entire industry through real education our way.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's another interesting week, almost the end of May, and for us in Colorado, last week of school this week. So crazy week for everyone here in Colorado. But Ange, talk to us about, you're seeing some interesting stuff happening down in Springs, which is a pretty predominantly military-based market.
So military orders were moved. So for Springs, which is Fort Carson, which is the biggest Army base, most of the PCS orders, that's when you were delayed by 2 months. That manifested, people's orders were put on hold. So our normal time, like, which was spring, which we don't really have spring, but like March. Well, because it was delayed 2 months, quick math, that's now. Everybody has orders, and it's like they're all dropping at once. So quickly, if they're marketed well. With that being said, there's a really big difference right now between marketing for certain realtors and how they present a home and what they're kind of allowing their houses to look like, how they're being marketed, and all of that fun stuff. So I would say I just did a test on a property that is on acreage right next to another property that is listed by another agent that typically stages their houses, but this time they didn't. Obviously, I staged mine. I marketed the crap out of it. And we got some really good results. Under contract first weekend, 50 grand over asking. Pretty good results. Their house is marketed at a lower price point than ours. It's much larger than ours, and it's been sitting for a month. So that tells me that people are still really, really interested in what the houses look like, even though they're not buying the stuff that you're staging with. That is incredibly important that they fall in love with the house. And part of the house is all of that staging stuff. It just really warms up the house. And that particular house was a flip. Mine was not. Mine was a lot warmer though. And so that flip was all gray tones. And I will tell you, as somebody that watches this kind of thing, those gray tones are going out like quick, like gone. People just want warmer at this point, and gray is kind of out. So I wonder if that's contributing to it as well. So I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing. Have you seen anything like that up there? Do you look at that kind of thing?
Yes. I feel like if you don't nail it in the first 1 to 3 weeks on market up here, you're just you're going to sit for a while, and you're going to most likely have to reduce price. I mean, not always, right, but yeah, probably. I mean, staging is really important. Like, we've all seen the statistics on it over the years. I think the issue is most agents don't know how to stage. They're not designers like you are. And I think everyone's freaking out about money right now. So do you have any recommendations on how to get your properties staged?
Yeah, I do. I would work with a stager that will at least help you out with the billing cycle. So I bill half up front now and then half within 60 days, which hypothetically should be closing. So that usually helps out. So they only pay half up front and then half at closing. I also just became one of those fun influencers. So you can literally order staging packages that will have all the colors for all the different color schemes and have everything that you need to choose. I have a $500 package. I have a $2,000 package. So it'll help you be able to grow your staging inventory, and all of that stuff coordinates. So it'll help you be able to do that on your own. if you would like. And because it's through this particular company, you can use your credit card. So I think that that's super helpful. So you don't have to physically go and like pay in cash or anything like that. I know for a lot of us, like credit card debt is a problem, but if you're trying to grow your business, at least do it on that because you can write it off. But I'll be sharing that here soon. So that's going to be rolled out here pretty quickly. So that should help out too. But there's definitely a lot that you can do. Just start with decluttering the house. I can't tell you how many houses I see right now where agents either don't have the budget or just haven't helped guide their clients into cleaning the house. The houses are just really disgusting when I get to them and I'm like, why hasn't somebody called a cleaner in? You got to do that kind of stuff. Either if you're going to clean it yourself, clean it, make sure the countertops are all cleared off, get rid of all personalizations, all the photos and stuff. And just make the beds at least, like this is not just your property that you're showing off. This is your reputation. It's really important for you as an agent to set yourself apart in this way and at least take pride in what you're doing and how you're presenting something. So that's something that you can do that's free. You can literally just declutter the house and help your client get their house ready for market. So that's what I would recommend if you're on a budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right. In markets that are more normal like this, where houses take a little bit more oomph to sell, you have to figure out how to get the oomph. And that's either in my market, you got to pretty significantly underprice. Because just like $10,000 difference, if that's not going to be enough, right, to get it sold quickly, and it's not going to be top dollar. So you got to figure out another way to get the oomph. I would imagine, I don't know, maybe you can tell me if this is true or not, but stagers maybe could be struggling a little bit too, considering the way that the market changed potentially in some areas. So maybe find a stager that you could pay at closing.
Yeah. One that you pay at closing, or ask for what we call a vignette stage, where it's just decor items. It's not like throwing pillows in a corner. So if that's the stager that you hire somebody else. But it's going to be something like, going in and adding like the small knickknacks and making the beds properly, adding throw pillows, all of that kind of stuff, and making it a cohesive design. That's a much less expensive stage. And that's something that's definitely affordable for you. So I would ask about that as well.
Perfect. You can bill your sellers. I know that is always kind of, I guess, a tough conversation for people to have. And something that is like debated in the industry, whether we take care of it or those sellers take care of it. Regardless of who takes care of it, you should definitely have a clause in your listing agreement or your contract with your sellers that says what happens if the house doesn't sell or they pull the house off the market, so that you don't get completely stuck with that cost. But there are a lot of agents that bill their clients for that. And I think that that's plenty appropriate in lots of situations. So that's another one of those tough conversations we have to practice having nowadays.
I would say too, when I'm seeing people calling me that don't normally call me when their house has been sitting for a month or two and they're about to take a massive price reduction, or they already have, and they're like, we don't know what else we can do here. That's a great time for you to also do this. If you don't start out with it and you didn't get them to sign off on it up front, this is a great way for you to then revisit this conversation. Like, hey, we're either going to have to drop the house price by $25,000. And I don't care who you hire staging wise, like it better be less than $25,000. Most of mine are like $1,500 to $3,000, okay, to stage houses. That's a hell of a lot less than whatever your price reduction will probably end up being if your house doesn't sell. So conversely, if you do it up front, you might get multiple offers over asking. But that just comes down to how well your seller is receptive to that kind of thing if you're going to ask them to pay for it. So
sometimes I think it can be kind of like a quid pro quo conversation, either at the beginning of listing or, like Angela said, when you're needing to adjust the price. It can be like, okay, I'll list at your price, but I need to bring in my stager and it's going to cost approximately X amount of dollars, and I'll pay for it up front, but you're going to reimburse me at closing, or you're going to pay for it up front, however that goes. Or it can be the same thing kind of at a juncture where it's like, hey, we need to reduce the price, and they don't want to. It could be something like, okay, well, we can stay at the price where you want to stay, but in order to do that, we're going to bring in my stager, we're going to get this done, we're going to shoot no photos. So I feel like it's a lot easier sometimes to ask for those things for your client to take care of the cost if you give something as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
So
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch people have real results once it's staged. So it really does work. There's a reason why we do it, and there's a reason why we are in business. So
yeah, absolutely.
you could also even ask the stager if you can rent some items from them. I've had a couple realtors do that with me. And yes, because I have a massive inventory, I will rent my stuff to them for less because I don't have to go and actually stage the house myself. So that's an option too.
Great idea. Yeah. Although I would say most agents are not as talented naturally with an eye to know how to stage things correctly. But I mean, yeah, you could.
You can literally take my pictures and copy them. You could do that. You can do the same thing with Pinterest. If you just look up staging, you can literally look on there and find the way to stage a bed and then copy it. So
yeah, it is pretty unbelievable how big of a difference it makes. It's wild, especially in a market like this, because like I said, I don't know if it's like this down there for you too, but I feel like if you don't nail it pretty quickly out the gate, it's going to end up costing your clients a lot more out of pocket in the long run, for sure.
Right. Yeah, big time. Yep. So I have a question for you. I feel like now this time of year is like when people start having like their big client parties and different events and stuff. And I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do this year. So are there anything that you're doing or some tips for people that are thinking about doing that kind of thing? And maybe because money is tight, they don't really know if they can or should do that kind of thing. So
that is
really good at that.
Great question, especially because I feel like 9.9 out of 10 of every single posts that we see in all the big real estate groups right now are, how do I get leads? How do I get, it's really interesting. It's, the conversation used to always be about like, how do I convert leads? Like, but now it's how do I get a lead, because there aren't even leads coming in for a lot of people to convert. So, yeah, absolutely. I have always done a lot of client events. I've been always really event heavy. I've always done, I was like the first agent in my market to do movies, which, we would have 500 to 1,000 people come. And it was really, really fun. And that is an overhead cost for sure. I'll talk about some ways to save some money, I guess. But I've done everything from, I've done parties in my yard or parties at the local park up the street from me, which is very, very low cost. You can rent, or you can, honestly, if anyone's watching and wants the link, you can buy on Amazon for like $100 total for both pieces, maybe $120 max. A big, huge, like 6 or 7 foot tall blow up movie screen and a projector that's outdoors that goes with it. You can get yard games like cornhole and Connect Four and all kinds of fun stuff to just do like a backyard barbecue. I feel like it might be a little bit distasteful right now in today's world and economy to be throwing a really big, really gross, like I probably, unless you're in a very specialized market that really, is a luxury market and that's the clientele, I'm not sure that I'd be throwing like a wine and champagne black tie dinner event right now. Those are really fun in certain times, but I think the average American, just like us, is a little bit worried about their property values. If they are hiring a realtor, they're a little bit worried about what that's going to cost. They're a little bit worried about groceries. It's just a huge conversation, right? So I think that I think casual, especially for the summer, is fun.
You can even have an event like in the neighborhood that you're farming, and even do the blow up movie screen. It's something that I'm planning on doing here really shortly. We have a really big neighborhood here that I want to kind of take over that neighborhood. And I'm going to do like a big candy bar where kids can like come and pick what they want for their movie, and they can just scoop it out and just go to Sam's Club and buy like a ton of different candies and put them in pretty bowls or pretty vases, glass jars or whatever, a big popcorn maker. And then let them bring out lawn chairs and stuff, like it doesn't have to be crazy formal. It can be inexpensive. And that's
totally agree.
People are probably going to go if it's in the neighborhood.
hot dogs and burgers, barbecue,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's very on par with summertime in America, you know, and I think it doesn't feel as you don't want people thinking you're making millions, billions of dollars
Right.
like
It's
off
not
of them.
stuffy. Like you're a normal person. You're attainable just like they are, and you're easy to talk to, and they can, they can align with you. That's another thing that you'll have in common. If you show up to a hot dog event in a business suit, you're gonna look like an idiot. So don't do that shit. But like snow cones and movie night, that's freaking incredible. Like even if you take it a next level and you do like food trucks or something and movie night, you can totally do that too. But
And
the
get
more
creative with the way that it gets paid for. Like I'm the queen of free, and I've done this for 15 years, right? Like go to local restaurants and let them know that you're having an event that might have a couple hundred neighborhood people at it, and ask them what they will contribute. You know, Noodles and Company a lot of times will give like little mini, not M&Ms. What's wrong with my group? Rice Krispie treats, the best things on planet Earth. A lot of times local restaurants will donate appetizers. Starbucks a lot of times will donate like a coffee station. And then lean heavily on your vendor partners too, like your title person, your lender, your inspector. All those people should help contribute and pay for things. And they, you know, you can also, like you brought up food trucks. That's such a fun and awesome idea. People can pay for their own food too. So it doesn't have to be that you pay for it. I've done events where I've guaranteed, you know, that we'll pay a certain dollar amount, or I've done events where I've just said to the food truck company, hey, you know, there's going to be 100, 200 people there. It's right during lunchtime or dinner time. You come and anything you sell, yay, you know?
Right. So how, once you have that event, how do you capture all of those people? What do you do with that? And what's the best tasteful way to capture information, and then how to follow up properly?
For me, with a giveaway. So I have always put a giveaway table basically like at the entrance of the event before they can even walk in the door or walk into the event. And they basically don't get entry unless they put their contact information down. And typically it's one of my vendor partners that's paying for the prize. And the prize, it should probably be a good prize if you're requiring, especially a bunch of unknown people. You know, when it's my clients, obviously I want them to have a great prize. But if you're like opening up a park for the weekend and asking a bunch of unknown people to come through, you want it to be a good prize or they're going to get irritated. So
here's a quick idea for a good prize. If you're doing an outdoor event, get a really nice Yeti cooler, like a nice one, not like a shitty one, and fill it with all kinds of fun stuff like sidewalk chalk, things to do outside, like water balloon gun jobbers and Nerf guns, like things to keep people occupied that are going to appeal to multiple people in the family that are all going to be like, oh my God, I want to win that Nerf gun, or I would really love to have that Yeti cooler, and brand it to yourself. That was my 10 cents. Go ahead.
Love it. TVs have gotten really expensive. I've been shopping with Angela and she's seen me grab a couple TVs at Walmart because they're great for client giveaways. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of, one of my favorites in the summertime to do is Omaha Steaks. That's a company that's national, and they will ship your clients or whoever wins basically like a barbecue box, and it has like whatever you choose, like 6 burgers or 6 steaks or, you know, like a whole bunch of stuff, and it comes with condiments and utensils, and they'll brand it to you, and it's cheap. Like you can do that for like less than $100 if you get a good coupon online, and that makes a really big impact, and that's fun for the summertime. So definitely, in my opinion, it is a lot easier to get people to register for something if they're registering for a prize or a giveaway. Otherwise,
multiple prizes and giveaways. Like if people are going to come out to the event with you, you're going to let somebody have a tent or something, like a lender or a title company. They should bring with them an item of value of up to, you know, whatever amount you're going to tell them. Like I would make somebody bring a grill. Like right now, grills are super inexpensive, and that's a high impact item that people don't typically take care of very well from year to year. So they do have to buy them fairly often. And that's something that you'll get people out there. You know, and don't just be like, here's a grill, like open it up, give like all of the grill accoutrement, like the like tongs and like
spatulas
and like the barbecue basting kit, some barbecue sauces, like the kick ass butt rub or whatever the crap it's called. That's like really popular that people like love. And it's kind of like, edgy because it has a cuss word in it, and like some nice like towels from like Home Goods or something. And like you can even like add your card to it or something, or if you have enough time, have somebody embroider your logo on it. Like those are ways that you can stand out. Like don't just give away one thing. Like you want to give away like a couple of really good items. And that's
You can also, I don't know, to give you an idea of what I would ask my vendor partners for, I usually ask for $300 to $400.
Yeah.
So whether I did something like that, a lot of times we'd be like, go buy an Apple Watch or go buy a 60-inch TV or whatever, or pick a prize, but it has to be $300 to $400, right? They get to write that off too.
Right.
Obviously, if it's someone brand new you've never worked with before, they may not 100% be into that. And so you guys got to be reciprocal on giving clients to each other. Also, if I'm asking anyone to donate or bring a prize, then I'm always allowing them to either speak at my event for just a couple seconds, or I'm introducing them, or what I do is I create like a swag bag and everybody gets those. You can get those little plastic giveaway bags on Amazon for like $0.01 a bag, and choose them the color of your logo or the color of your brokerage. And then you can put a bunch of stuff in there and just tell your vendors, bring a one sheet on your interest rates or a one sheet on your property inspections or whatever. It's kind of funny. Most of your clients probably know them anyways if they work with you.
This is a super good way to take over a neighborhood too. If you're trying to farm that neighborhood and take over, this is the way to kind of do that. Something that I saw very recently that I thought was super genius was all of those people that registered for the free stuff. The way that they followed up was they created their own Facebook page for the neighborhood that was branded to them. And they just dumped everybody in there, and then they randomly give away things. And then like they just put their names into a hat, and it like does like an automatic drawing or whatever for like Starbucks gift cards. So people stay in there. Usually when you add somebody to a group they don't want to be in, they will immediately leave unless you give them a reason to stay. And so you need to actually maintain that page. But I feel like that's a genius way to make sure they all get invited to the next event. And then you can incentivize them to bring their neighbor into the group. That kind of stuff is like the secret sauce, I feel like. So
brilliant. And I do think that we're in an economy, a market for real estate agents right now where a lot, if not most, realtors are backing off their spend on things. And again, like I could teach a whole class on how to get it all given away for free because I have never paid for most of my events. The most expensive event we ever did was the movie event, and that didn't cost us an astronomical amount of money. But we typically, when we see the economy crunch like this or markets crunch like this, especially this one right now, because we have so many agents, people are backing off of spending. So most of the realtors, they're not doing client events. Like I'm telling you, I've watched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of posts in the last 6 months about agents saying, how do I lead generate? How do I lead generate? Not one person has been like, do a client event or do a sphere event or do an event to establish a farm, because everybody's backing off of spending money. So you don't have to do it expensively. You don't have to spend a ton of money. I think, like we said, it's a little tacky right now in today's economy to do some crazy big expensive thing unless that's really who your clientele is. So make it casual. I mean, you could do tons of things. You could do another fun one is like collaborating with a restaurant that's local. So Angela and I have both done this. Go to the local smoothie shop or the local frozen yogurt place and say, from today from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock on a Saturday in the middle of the hot day, free frozen yogurts on me, and ask the business to give you those frozen yogurts that are bought under your name a discount, or go to them and say, can I have coupons? And then say anybody who shows up today between 1 and 3 o'clock gets 20% off of a snow cone or 20% off their dinner or whatever that is. So I think right now, reaching out and connecting with local businesses is a great idea, and anybody that you can to help you share cost with. But it's a great time to throw events because no one else is doing it.
Right. And it's also a really good time to help promote other businesses that might have a bigger sphere of influence or a different sphere of influence than you currently do. So if you're hosting an event at a random pizza shop and an ice cream shop or something like that, they will then post that too, and they'll tag you. So now you get their entire sphere seeing you and what you're doing. That's kind of how you next level things. The other thing I wanted to say too, if you're doing an outdoor event, the other way that you can definitely capture people's information, if that's the goal, which it usually is by doing like some kind of a photo call to action. Like you can either have them take photos and then tag you in it, which I don't think is as effective, but you can hire a photo booth company to come in and do that. Usually when they do a photo booth, they have to put their information in to be able to like get it to spit out like their little photos. So you've got that capture. You can hire a local photographer. If it's a big neighborhood, there's probably at least 4 photographers that currently live in the damn neighborhood. So that's a really good way to grow their business too. And they probably already have a good sphere of influence. But people love cool, candid pictures of themselves and their families. And so a great way to capture that is to say, hey, if you guys want access to all of these photos, we're going to throw them into this group. We'll post them on X time. If you want to come and join the group, here's our link. That's a super easy way to do it.
Love that. Absolutely. Yeah, anything that you can give to them that doesn't cost money too. And again, like the photographer, you could, I'm the queen of free. It does not. So when I started doing these events, by the way, it was during the recession. I had no money, single mom, like literally no money at all. And so I had to get everything paid for because I literally could not pay for things. And I do an event a quarter, Easter egg hunts, cookies in the park, like all kinds of stuff. And I never paid for any of it. So really it's a lot of, it's extra work to go collaborate with local people and local businesses, but you can do it at an extremely low cost. You could go to the photographer. That's such a great idea and say like, would you do an hour of just walking around and taking free candid photos if I let you put your business card in every one of my swag bags, right? Like, so, lean on those people in the community for absolute sure.
Yep.
In my market,
businesses too.
Totally. I mean, in my market, I was the first agent in my market to ever do a movie event. That was like forever ago. And now everyone does them. And I've almost stopped doing them because so many people do them. It feels silly. But I mean, like in a normal year, the last couple of years, you'd probably see an agent a week doing one of those.
Yeah.
And now I haven't seen someone advertise one of those in 6 months, right? So it's definitely a great time to make a bigger impact doing a community event or an event for your clients, because it seems like everyone else is cutting their budget and they're not doing them anymore. Yeah. You can do virtual events. One of my friends, Missy Webb in Oklahoma, she does a virtual bingo. And it's super fun. And she started doing it during COVID and people still do it. And they just jump on for like a couple minutes on Facebook and they do a quick game of bingo and they win prizes doing that, right?
Another one, movie night too, where you like send everybody a link to the movie.
Totally. Yeah.
You can movie box you can go to the Dollar Tree and get super cheap candy and popcorn, and they can make the popcorn themselves and send it to their house.
100%. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. And you can do, Claudia, hi Claudia, asks, what did I do for movie night? If you don't mind sharing. Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't do movie night. So I always did movie morning. So I picked the big kids movie for the quarter that came out, and I would do first thing Saturday morning. So we rented out a whole theater. By the end of it, we had to get like 4 theaters in one. It was crazy. We had over 1,000 people our very first movie. So don't let anyone tell you that it doesn't work. But so we rented out the whole movie theater at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. And it was always the kids movie, because my thought process, I'm a mom. My thought process behind it was like, I'm not going to get a babysitter. Like, yeah, it's really cool that the new Starbucks movie or the new Marvel movie is out. That's awesome. But I'm going to see that like with my husband or my friends on my own time. I'm not going to get a babysitter on a Friday night to go see the new screening of the Marvel movie. But I would, when I have nothing to do on Saturday morning with my kids and they're on my nerves, go see a free movie with my kids. So we always did the big, whatever premiered that week, we did it Saturday morning. So like no one had seen it yet. That was the other thing. Movie theaters don't charge you additional money for it being like the new movie. So I wanted to make sure people were like, no, we've already seen that 3 times, so whatever the new hot kids movie is, we did it at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. Families, kids allowed. We did not cap the number of people that could come. And in fact, I was going to bring this up. One of my very favorite tactics for growing your sphere in general is letting your people invite people. Like you will double, triple X the amount of people that come, and you'll double, triple X the amount of people that end up in your sphere because of it. And they're already fans because they're being invited by someone who's already a fan of yours. So I always let my clients and friends invite their family and friends. And then we just, worked to get as much of the cost covered as we could by vendor partners, who, by the way, right now are struggling too. Your photographer, your all your people that work with you and for you right now are struggling too. So I can guarantee they pretty much, want to participate. But it's a really fun event. I'd get up at the front of the movie theater for 5 minutes really fast before the movie started, and I would just say, hi, my name's Lindsay with the Creed Group. If you don't know me already, thanks so much for coming. I hope you guys have the best time. And, this is my inspector. This is my photographer. This is my whoever. And they all help to put this on for us today. So everyone give them a round of applause. Their business cards are in the bags underneath your seat. And then at the front of the theater, they had to register when they walked in for 2 things. They got a soda and candy, popcorn, 1 snack per person coupon at the front of the theater if they registered. And then they also got registered for giveaways.
Awesome.
And it's fun. But you could do that. You don't even have to do that right now in a movie theater. Like I said, you can, cut the cost of the biggest overhead is the movie theater, right? So you could cut the cost of that and do that in the park. One of my favorite agents in, I think she's in South Carolina. I always get confused by the Carolinas, either South Carolina or North Carolina. But she does this at her home every single year, right? And like clients love coming to her house. She also does a pumpkin patch, in the fall where they just get a ton of pumpkins and they put them outside in their front yard and people get to come. And, she's farmed that neighborhood for dozens of years, and she's the queen of that neighborhood because she does events in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of creative ways right now to do it inexpensively, I think.
I would think about too, like, kids are about to be out of school. There's about to be a whole lot of parents that are like, I don't know what to do with my kids during the day, and they're driving me crazy, or they're getting really expensive. Like they always want to go do these events. So you can always find typically a group of moms at a Chick-fil-A at any given time, watching their kids play for 4 hours. You could very easily drop off an invite to them to whatever event that you're having and say, look, this is totally free. Come on by, bring your friends, bring their friends. Like it's totally fine. And we're doing it outside. We're going to be giving away a whole bunch of stuff. That's how you keep growing your sphere. Just drop off those flyers while you're out. If you're going to eat lunch, drop them off anywhere. There's always groups of people that are trying to figure out what to do with their kids during the summertime. So if you give them an opportunity to do that, you're 10 steps ahead.
That is an amazing idea. I'm obsessed with that. Angela and I, when we started in this business, again, it was big recession, like dramatically worse than it is right now. And we were kids. We didn't have a ton of money. And so we used our time. We had tons of time. We talk about that on the show all the time. If you have an absence of business, you've got an influx of a lot of time, right? So, we would do crazy things. We'd go door knock apartment complexes. There were hotels in town. This was Angela's idea. It was the best idea ever. Hotels in town where military we knew would live until they found a home or, figured out where they were going to move to when they were stationed in town. And we'd go drop flyers on people's cars in parking lots, right? Like, make sure that what you're doing isn't illegal, because we've both almost been arrested a couple times for do not solicitates. But, we door knocked, we did flyer drops, anything and everything that we could to get our information out to people. We were really aggressive with, because we didn't have the money. So, if you don't have the funds to market yourself, there's so many, like we could do it'd be fun to do a whole episode on bootleg ways to market yourself that cost no money.
Yeah, totally. Something that we do that's been a really big return is during like the holiday time, we do these big gingerbread competitions. But I feel like there's got to be like a way during summertime to give people like a longer project to do, and then have it like judged on some level, but it's not related to gingerbreads.
So that
So, like,
same
one thing.
agent that I know in one of the Carolinas, sorry, I'm not even dropping her name because I'm butchering where she's from. She's been on the show. She's one of my favorites, Leslie Peters. I think it's South Carolina. Look up Leslie, Lesley Peters. But she does she does a couple, I've seen a couple really cool things. She does a coloring contest, a virtual coloring contest. So she sends out a graphic, and actually Veda, who's her daughter, draws the picture every summer. So it's even cuter because her daughter's drawn, and it's like I don't know, like a kitty sitting in someone's summer yard or something. And it gets sent to all their clients, and it gets blasted on all their social media. And it just says, have your kids color this. And then they pick 2 winners, and the 2 winners get a really nice Yeti cooler. And everyone has to share it to social media and tag their company, right? So they get tons of exposure that way. I've also seen agents do, and this is one of my favorites, it's like a gardening contest. So, they'll do, because summer is the height of that too, right? So they'll do
Garden of the month or whatever.
Garden of the month, or I've even seen them almost like Christmas lights, where they're like, send in your address by this date and time, and then they put all of the addresses on a list that they send out to everyone, and they say, you have until X date to drive by all these yards and tell us which one is your favorite. And then, the top maybe 3 yards win a prize too. So there's tons of ways. That's a really fun one.
I have one too. So if you're trying to farm a neighborhood that still has a builder in it, that builder would love anything that you want to do at their model home. Usually, you could do things like hosting a private chef coming in to teach people how to make a certain recipe. Like a cooking class. You can have a gardening company from a local nursery come in and teach people how to pot plants or propagate things properly. Just all kinds of fun, small things. People know where the model home is. So it's an easy place to meet for that. That's a good place also to have like arts and crafts night type things at. And you're going to grow that sphere really quickly, because especially if it's a large neighborhood and it's free and it's something to do, people are going to want to have access to it. So
amazing. And on top of that, builders usually have a little bit of money per month for a marketing budget. It's not going to be thousands of dollars. It's usually $250 a month. And their salespeople hate throwing events or doing outreach to realtors or outreach to clients of any kind, because they have a full-time job already. So that's a great way to make good friends with the builder salesperson and grow your own sphere for sure. We both done lots of that.
That's a great way to become the builder's preferred realtor outside of the model home. If they have people come in that need a house to sell, they have a house to sell to be able to qualify to buy their house. It's a great way to get on that list. So,
oh yeah. I mean, tons of fun stuff. Do a 4th of July or a Memorial Day parade, right? Like, you don't even need to send out that's what's crazy about the world that Angela and I lived in when we started. Facebook wasn't a thing. We were still in MySpace days. None of this existed. So now, think past just Facebook groups. You could be the neighborhood TikTok person, the neighborhood Instagram person, but just send out a day and time and tell the kids to all show up with their Power Wheels and the streamers on their bikes, and dress in their patriotic red, white, and blue, and have a parade down the street, do a water gun fight, show up at the OK Corral in front of my house at 2:00 on Saturday, bring your water balloons and your water guns, right? Like, there's so much. There's an agent, I hate her because she's in my neighborhood and I'm mad that I didn't think of it first, but she sets out a table Halloween, every single Halloween, and she gives out full-size candy bars for the kids, and then she gives out alcoholic drinks for the adults. And everybody stops by. I've even seen them some years flipping burgers and hot dogs outside, giving away little like hand warmers to put in your gloves because we're in Colorado and it's cold, right? There's millions of people already walking by. Like, it doesn't have to be expensive to make a big impact.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Those are all really, really, really good ways for you guys to grow your sphere this summer. And now is a really good time to start that, because this is the last week of school. It's also a good time if it's your last couple days of school to maybe sponsor dropping off a lunch or picnic basket type things, like small catered things to all of your kids' teachers, or do a teacher's lounge type thing. I know we've been having to do like 8,000 charcuterie boards for that. So dropping that kind of thing off to your kids' teachers, guess what? They still qualify for loans. So they got to live somewhere. Those are also a good sphere of influence to get, and they're really excited to be done with this year too. So any cause to celebrate, this is a big one. So
You just made
think
me
about that kind of thing too.
You just made me think of a couple other things too, like when it comes to community service professionals, like your police, your fire, all those people, they will build you a sphere like crazy. Invite them to your neighborhood parties, go to the local precinct. We have something called a PAR officer, which is like the officer that's responsible for a certain number of blocks in each community. Invite them and say, we're having a parade, please come, bring a couple people from the force, they can meet you guys, you can meet them, bring the firefighters,
Yeah. The firefighters will always come and let the kids like check out the truck as long as they're not like super busy. They'll always bring that, and that's free. So
absolutely. And also you made me think about doing almost like a progressive like Mother's Day out kind of thing. Go to the moms in your neighborhood and be like, I get that it's summer and you guys are going to be psychotic, so everybody bring their kids to my house this Saturday, and then next Saturday they're at Susie's house, and then the Saturday after that they're at Betsy's house, right? So like, I mean, I could think there's so many. That's what I get excited about personally. Angela is the design and staging queen. I love marketing. I love grassroots marketing. I love free marketing. There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to do.
I think that these are really good ideas, and they don't have to all be for one neighborhood in particular. You can try and take over a few neighborhoods all at once. You don't have to just do one. Once you do a smaller one, then you can move to a much bigger one and just replicate it and do the same thing. And something that I found interesting the other day is I was thinking about how to take over a particular neighborhood, and I didn't want to be pigeonholed into being the neighborhood for just that, like being the neighborhood realtor for just that neighborhood. I wanted people to know that like I work in other neighborhoods too. So you can definitely move your price point around and make sure you understand who lives in that neighborhood, who predominantly is in there, because based on the price points of the houses, you can kind of see that kind of thing too. But drive around in there, see if it's like predominantly kids or empty nesters, or, parents with older kids that are about to graduate or get out of the house. You can market differently to those people, because somebody with kids that are teenagers or older kids, they're not going to show up to like a kid event, to watch a kids movie. So you're going to need to watch that kind of thing. Like if you're trying to market to, $1 million neighborhood that most of the kids in there are graduated already, you're not going to want to have kids movies. Like think about that kind of thing. I personally don't market to those people because those are not my target clientele, but that's something that you could absolutely do.
I've seen, okay, so one of the things that I've always talked about is like, watch what the busybody moms in your neighborhood do, which first of all, hang on, let me back up. I don't, what you're saying, Ange, I have never farmed my own neighborhood. I've talked about this several times before. A lot of people do that. It's great for you. I like my autonomy. I'm already on show for work all day long, all the time anyways. I don't want to like go out on Saturday in my underwear to bring my trash can in and have the whole neighborhood trying to talk to me. So I fly under the radar in my neighborhood. So if that's something, it doesn't have to be your neighborhood. Like,
you can be, I don't live in a neighborhood.
You don't have to live in the neighborhood. But always watch what the busybody moms are doing, what the, those kind of like PTA moms are doing, and then steal those ideas. So like right now in my neighborhood, the busybody mom is, and she doesn't have a business. Okay. Like I'm not competing with her in any type of business. She just has a lot of time on her hands, and she's like the crafty, amazing mom. Watch for those moms and steal their ideas. She went and got little corrugated plastic signs, like a garage sale sign, that are literally like $10 for a pack of 1 billion of them at Home Depot. And she flipped them around, and she got cute craft markers and glitter, and she made signs for all the high schoolers that are graduating. And she put them in their yard in the middle of the night and like bombed them with some like crepe paper and shit. And everybody in the neighborhood is talking about how cute it is that their, high schoolers woke up on graduation day to signs. right? Like you can do, just watch what they're doing because they do really fun stuff. They're the ones that are throwing like Cinco de Mayo night in the park. Like just look for what they're doing. They're not spending a ton of money to do it. They're just looking for community and they make up cheap shit to do to find it.
Yeah. One last thing that I thought of while you were talking was you could always pick a different house a month and do a different small project and bring your builder in and have them teach you how to make an accent wall, how to properly paint a wall. In Colorado, we have a lot of knockdown texture, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to paint it. So teaching people how to properly paint that kind of thing. Ways to add different values to your house, like the different for under $500, under $100, adding curb appeal, painting your front, like anything like that. Those are super easy things to get buy-in from. And then you just drop a different address that you're working on that month. And, people can sign up to have it be at their house and they get a massive discount or whatever. And then you can sponsor that or have your lender sponsor that. But, that's kind of a way for you to kind of take over in there. It makes it a lot easier for you later when you're going to list their house, because those are all things that you're probably going to be doing anyway. And if you know it's a neighborhood with a ton of kids, typically storage is going to be an issue. So a super easy one that I do in one particular neighborhood all the time is I build a built-in right at the entry so that they can hang backpacks, coats, all of that stuff with a bench, because the builder in that particular neighborhood did not add that. We do. And it's super inexpensive and everybody loves it. And that's a super easy one for people to be able to replicate on their own. So, and then if they get in over their head, they can call you. So
love that. I love your gardening classes idea. Love that. Yeah, I mean, there's so much cool stuff that I feel like we should let's do a whole week. Maybe we're not ready for it next week, but let's do a whole week on free to very low cost ways to lead generate for Sphere and community. Because there's so much fun stuff you can do. I mean, I would say go back to COVID. Like look at all the events that people were doing for communities during that, because they were very little to no cost, right? Like the people were doing the shamrocks in the windows, color the shamrock and put the shamrock in the window, or meet out on the driveway for cocktails at 5 o'clock, all that. Like there is a lot. And again, I've always said that agents get really in their head about their marketing needing to be super sexy. And I've always been really anti that. Anytime I've ever done postcards, Angela, what's the first thing that you do when you open your mail? If you see a postcard that's this big and it's bright and shiny and glossy, like it goes in the trash can.
Yeah.
Because 100% sure it's marketing, right? Yeah. And it's crap. So like you're spending all this extra money to make things really pretty and sexy, and it's literally flagging people to not even look at it and throw it in the trash, right? So I don't think people in this economy right now want to see you doing really over the top kind of grossy community events. Our friend Janine Sasso does a garage sale. She just puts everybody who wants to do a garage sale on a map, and then she sends the map around the community, and that's basically no cost too. So I mean, I think there's so much that in summer is such a great time.
Yeah, I mean, right now everybody's planting plants and landscaping. So call a local landscape company and do a live video or something, and show them how to, xeriscape their yard, or add a water feature that's super easy, or, get rid of weeds permanently, or get rid of that tree that's been super annoying, or how to plant things. Like just have them do it. It's what they do for a living. And if people need actual landscaping services, there's their information. They've just done it for free, and have them do it at your house, because then you get some free stuff done.
And remember, their business is weird and changing right now too. So they're going to be willing. It's not as hard of an ask, and get the kids involved. I love getting the kids involved. What's your, everybody draw your best sidewalk chalk picture and we'll judge them all, whatever, if you get the kids involved, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Porch of the month, yard of the month, and just do some signs or whatever and give away something decent. People will want to participate in it. People are really prideful about their yards, especially men. That's like a point of pride for most guys, is how many grass lines and mow lines are in their yard. I don't understand that, but it is what it is. The other thing too with that like yard of the month type thing, that's a great opportunity for, when you have porch of the month, to teach people how to hang a wreath properly, how to make a wreath, like how to make a bow. Those are super easy things that you can just do on social media and have a video done. And it doesn't have to be from you. You can just reshare it from a TikTok or something. Like it's super easy. Or have one of your crafty friends show people how to do it.
Angela makes the best staged front porches for every holiday, every season I've ever seen in my life. Like if you threw like a how to make your front porch pretty class, I'd be there every day learning.
Yeah, I mean, for the season, like change it up for the season. It's super easy to do, and it'll probably cost you, like mine are a little bit more expensive because I'm extra, but you know, most of the time you can get your porch done for like under $100. So it's like a fun thing for people to do, to get outside and get the kids, get their things, and you know, how to take care of things, which I think is something that we don't do enough of for our kids. Teach them how to take care of things and take pride in something, and reminding them to water and that kind of thing. I think there's lots of life lessons in there that we could probably help with too. But yeah, I mean, porch of the month or porch of the quarter or whatever, those are super easy things. And it's a great opportunity for you to, you know, set an example. So
if you have shitty teenagers, get them involved in service in the community. Are there older people who need help pulling weeds? Are there women who need help cleaning up? Make them into Mormon missionaries? For
like
the
usually if you have a yard of the month person, like your gift for them should be for them to choose a neighbor's house that looks like shit, and you pay to have their yard mowed and taken care of.
Love
They don't have to
that.
look at it anymore. That should be their gift, that they get to finally stop driving by that house that's been annoying them. And
I
people would
love that.
love that.
That would be my neighbors across the street. Everyone on the street hates them. They're the people that always have like the weeds growing out of the cracks in the driveway and shit. I love that.
Yeah.
I think there's 1.5 million fun ways to get involved in the community. I think the hardest thing for a lot of people is just putting yourself out there, because
getting started.
Prospecting, lead generation is not something that the majority, and we know that statistically from NAR, the majority of real estate agents have had to do in the last 3 years. And when the majority of all real estate agents licensed today have only been in the business 2 to 5 years, that's a skill that they're lacking. And so come from contribution, come from value. There's 1 million things. Start small, start free, get your neighborhoods buy-in. People will start calling you. People call me all the time. What movie are we doing this quarter? Or like, you know, what are we going to do? What's fun? What kind of parade are we going to have this month? Right? Like they'll start to cheerlead for you.
Yeah. I love the idea of a Hot Wheels parade or something like that. That like sounds so fun, like a Power Wheel or whatever parade. Man, kids love
Streamers
that.
on the bicycles, and you know, like, I mean, I think like a mom, and I hate to say that, and especially if we have men that listen, go to your wife or come to us and we'll help you. But you know, think like a mom during the summertime, because moms are always, like you said, Ange, looking for stuff to do with their kids, looking for cute, fun things to do. True story. Angela learned how to fucking face paint.
I did.
This is a true story. Angela is not an artist. For anyone who is listening, Angela learned how to fucking face paint so that she could go to community events and not spend the money on a face painter, which is several $100s at least. She painted children's fucking faces, right? So
that's also why I'm now a stager. So
yes. Ask the moms that are in your crew or in your neighborhood, like what they would be into doing this summer, and do it. Dude, put a hose down the freaking neighborhood park slide and make a water slide event for the weekend. Like there's so much fun stuff that you could do.
You're not limited by anything but your imagination and the amount of time that you're willing to put into it. But you can definitely have some really awesome, really inexpensive events that are massive for your business and for your community. So
I think we'll try to put together a list of free events, free prospecting ideas, because I think that'd be fun to do a whole episode
on like how to have a bitchin' open house in the summertime, like how to actually get buy-in from the neighborhood on your open house.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. I love that. Let's do all of that. Alternative ways to prospect that don't cost a lot of money, but that aren't dumb, and that not everyone else is doing. So
fair enough.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging with us. We will see you guys next Tuesday. when it's actually summer and we are so excited. Goodbye.
Bye.
Angela and Lindsay would love to receive your real estate referrals in Colorado. Connect with the Homegirls on social media at The Real Homegirl